Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do my spoilery review for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I already did this once, and it was, I don't know if it was just too long. It was almost an hour, but I'm going to try to shorten it. Maybe YouTube will like a shorter video. And I probably talk too much anyway. We're kind of going to go chapter by chapter, sort of giving you my thoughts on each one. So the first chapter is The Worst Birthday. This takes place at the Dursleys. And honestly, as I was reading this, I was thinking that the reason that I don't hate the Dursleys as much as I hate Snape is because just too many funny things happen during the time that Harry's there that it's just, I'm enjoying it too much to like really muster up enough rage. Whereas with Snape, he's just like awful pretty much throughout the whole book. And by the time that he's redeemed, quote unquote, I spent 7 years or 7 books despising him, so why stop now? But yeah, like this chapter is hilarious. I mean, we got Dudley freaking out because Harry said, say the magic word, which was please, and Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon losing their minds over it. And then we have Harry, like messing with Dudley, saying he was gonna like do magic on him or, for, you know, saying magic spells under his breath and to scare him. And then we have, what was the other thing? Oh, Harry has the best comebacks. Like all the time, whenever he's the Dursleys. Dudley tells him, I know what day it is. And he goes, well done. You finally learned the days of the week. So yeah, like it's just, every book almost with the Dursleys is always funny. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. Chapter 2, Dobby's warning. We meet Dobby the house elf. He's one of my favorite characters. Even though he's like probably not the best here. We find out that he's been stopping Harry's mail. That's why Harry's been miserable. And he wants him not to go back to Hogwarts, but he won't tell him why. And when Harry refuses, he sets off a hover charm to basically destroy Aunt Petunia's dessert and get Harry locked up. I mean, yeah, that part of the Dursleys isn't that fun. I mean, honestly, like, I want to know what the heck Vernon told, like, the person who installed the bars on Harry's window, and then, like, the cat flap. Well, I guess he installed that himself, otherwise there would be questions, but what the heck? Anyway, chapter 3, The Burrow. The Weasleys rescue him in their flying car. I want a flying car. So, yeah, they have a terrible plan once they get home. Apparently the plan is to tell Mrs. Weasley, hey, Mom, guess who showed up in the night? Like she's that dumb. The other thing I wondered was, what is a warlock? They talk about Arthur's job in Perkins being a warlock, and I'm just like, what the heck is a warlock? Because the males are called wizards and the females are witches. So what's a warlock? An old wizard? Anyway, I'm going to be comparing the Stephen Fry version to the Jim Dale versions because I'm listening to Stephen Fry for the first time. Mrs. Weasley sounds terrifying in the Stephen Fry ones. He does a really good outraged Molly shriek. And when Arthur comes home and she's like wanting him to back her up, he sounds like such a wimp. It really makes a difference, the narrator that you listen to, because I cannot stand him in the Stephen Fry versions. Whereas in like the Jim Dale versions, he just sounds funny, like, I don't know, just his tone is very different. In the Stephen Fry ones, I don't know, like I get the feeling like battered husband when like Mrs. Weasley's gonna attack him or something. And then we go to Ron's room, and I want to know, if Harry's head almost hits the ceiling, what's it like for Ron, who's like way taller? Chapter 4, At Flourishing Blots. I kind of love the idea of a mirror telling you how you look. I mean, it would be perfect for a blind person who can't see colors and who doesn't really know what colors go with what, because it would tell you, like, that color sucks with that other color. I mean, it wouldn't sully you, but hey, that's feedback. Harry tries flu powder for the first time. gets lost. You know, we meet Gilderoy Lockhart. Harry gets his face plastered on the front page of the paper with him. He hates him for it. Malfoy. He almost runs into Malfoy in Nocturne Alley. And then Mr. Weasley and Mr. Malfoy get into a fight. Oh, yeah. And I enjoyed the way that Lucius Malfoy was, like, had no patience for Draco. Like, literally, like, whining about Harry and Hermione and how Harry got on the Quidditch team. He's like, oh, my God. You've been talking about this all summer. He's probably counting the days until his kid goes back to school. Then, Chapter 5, The Whomping Willow. I want to ride in that flying car. Like, I know that their idea to fly to school was stupid and, you know, really stupid. And they crash into the Whomping Willow and disaster ensues and they get caught. But that would have been fun. They get caught by Snape. Like, once they get to school, like, they're, like, wondering... They're, like, peeking into the windows to, like, look in on the feast to try to see the sorting. And they notice that Snape isn't at the table, and they're like, what do you think happened to him? Maybe he got fired. And then there's Snape behind him, like an overgrown bat. So he takes them to his office to lecture them. And then McGonagall and Dumbledore come in, and Snape wants him expelled. And my question is he just bluffing, or does he really hope that Harry gets expelled so that his protection duty's over? Like, is he just being a jerk, or does he really hope that Harry will do something so stupid that Dumbledore will have to expel him? And then you kind of wonder, like, why are you threatening to do it, Dumbledore? Because he probably won't. Like, you pretty much told him, if you do anything stupid like that again, I'm going to have to expel you. And you don't, and you probably won't. So, yeah, that kind of always went through my mind every time I read that chapter. Chapter 6, Gilderoy Lockhart. I want to know what happens if you don't open a howler quickly enough. Like, why does Neville tell him it'll be worse if they don't open it? Because, I mean, it's pretty bad when you do open it. Like, so what? If you just leave it there to open itself. And I think that's a pretty effective punishment, honestly. Public humiliation in front of all your friends. You'd probably never do anything terrible again. Then we have Gilderoy Lockhart taking Harry aside to give him some lessons on fame and how flying a flying car is not the way to get some attention, Harry. Harry. So yeah, there's that. Then we meet Colin Creevey. I actually, reading it this time around, I thought, like, well, first of all, Stephen Fry's voice for Colin is so annoying. So if I had heard the books from when he read them, like, if he was the first one I heard read the audiobooks, I would have probably hated Colin. But Jim Dale's versions, which is the ones that I grew up on, he makes him sound endearing. And I actually found him a little more endearing this time around because I've been sort of tracking Hermione's record for being a bad daughter. I'm going to keep referring to that every book. And, but when I was thinking about that, it got me to thinking about Colin and his camera and how it's sort of cool that he's, like, legit trying to keep his parents involved. Like, he's sending them pictures, and maybe he has an owl so they can write him back, and you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to keep them involved in his life and showing him what he's doing and things like that in a way they can understand, and that's something Hermione doesn't really do. So, yeah, I mean, like, if we go back to Flourish and Blots, they don't even have dialogue. They're just kind of there, like, looking around, freaked out, and she doesn't even, like, she literally, well, okay, she lets him be with Arthur, which is fine, but still, Arthur is, like, pestering them about plugs. That's not really helpful to them. They just think he's some weird freak who likes plugs. But, like, she doesn't try to involve them or, like, anything like that in anything she's involved in. I don't know. Like, they don't even have dialogue. They're, like, the least important people in the series. And they just keep getting sidelined. And justice for the Grangers. But yeah, I think Colin is doing it right. Apart from wanting a picture of Harry, I don't understand why he needs one. Because, I mean, his dad's a milkman. He has no idea who Harry is or cares. It's not like he got a picture with Bill Clinton, which was the president at the time, I think, or whatever. Who cares? Anyway. Malfoy hears Colin asking Harry to sign a picture of himself for him, and he gets everybody's attention, and then Lockhart hears, and he takes the picture with Harry and tells Colin that they'll both sign it, and then gives Harry another lesson on fame. Good grief. Lockhart is so full of himself. And then the quiz about himself. Gag. And then the Pixies. Yeah. Lockhart's a moron. Chapter 7, Mudbloods and Murmurs. Slugs. Ron puking up slugs. And her, Malfoy calling Hermione a mudblood. Ugh. God. Also, Wood waking Harry up at the crack of dawn to practice Quidditch. I'd kill him. And then Harry has to help Lockhart answer his fan mail for his punishment. I know that Lockhart requested it, but McGonagall must have been like, hee hee, you'll hate this, and I'm very happy about it. Like, that's funny. And then Harry hears a voice that no one else can hear, and yeah, that's the gist of it. Not a whole lot to talk about. Chapter 8, the Death Day Party. We find out Filch is a squib, and I was kind of thinking that, like, it's a little bit similar to Aunt Petunia, and it got me wondering, like, what's worse? Aunt Petunia not being a part of it at all and wanting to be, or Filch, where he's, like, watching all these magic kids and he's, like, there cleaning up after them? I can't decide. I think, though, that I would probably be a little bit like Filch if that was me, because, I mean, he's literally cleaning up the mud that these kids leave everywhere when they could easily wave their wand and say a little Scourgify and he wouldn't have to do it. Although, to be fair, I guess he wouldn't have a job if that happened, but, like, can you imagine having to clean up after these entitled wizard kids? I'd probably, like, I mean, I don't think I'd take the torture as far as Filch, where you want to hang people by their toenails, but, I mean, would I make them clean it by hand if they left mud? Yeah. Would I give them detention every time they left mud? Yeah, because it would bring me joy. If I was him. These entitled little snobby magic kids. Yeah, I was a little bit identifying with Filch. I have a problem, I know. Harry goes to the Death Day party. And we meet Moaning Myrtle. Stephen Fry's voice for her is incredible. Like, he does her crying and wailing really well. And then Harry hears the voice again, and there's Mrs. Norris petrified. Then we have Chapter 9, The Writing on the Wall. Dumbledore has Harry and Ron, or the trio, go into the office, into Lockhart's office, and the Lockhart has all the pictures of himself all over the walls. Can you imagine having a gallery with just pictures of yourself, and pictures of yourself, like, grinning crazily? Ugh. That sounds terrible. But I kind of wonder, like, I mean, I know why, but, like, Dumbledore knew what was happening. Like, why is he playing dumb? They should have, like, closed the school at that point. So, yeah. The only other thing I have for this chapter is shut up, Percy. Because he's, like, he took points away from them for, being in the girls' bathroom where it happened. And I just don't like bossy people. I do identify with him a lot, or I feel bad for him later on. But in that moment, shut up, Percy. I don't know. I would have almost been okay with him being petrified because he thinks because he's a prefect, the thing won't attack him. God. Like, ugh. Anyway. Oh yeah, that's when they decide to hatch the plan to make Polyjuice Potion because they think Malfoy is the heir of Slytherin. Hardy har. Although, to be fair, I thought the same thing when I was reading it for the first time. Then Chapter 10, The Rogue Bludger. I mean, the first part is they ask Lockhart to sign a note so they can get the book from the restricted section, and Hermione wants to keep the note. Seriously, the crush she has on Lockhart is gross. I hate it so much. Ew. Like, can you like someone better, Hermione? Anyway, then we have the Quidditch match. And the bludger. Before the Quidditch match, though, oh no, I forgot this part. At the beginning of the chapter, before the trio asks Lockhart for, the note, the chapter talks about Harry having to help him act out parts of his books, and he was playing a werewolf that day, and you hear Lockhart say, "Nice loud howl, Harry. There you go," or something like that. And I want to see that in the TV show, like Harry having to howl. Like, I cannot imagine him actually agreeing to dramatize these things. Like, how did nobody make fun of him more that year? Now let's go back to the Quidditch game. Before the game, Wood is the first one who tells Harry he must die for cause. Catch the snitch before Malfoy or die trying, Harry. I love it. I mean, I think he's insane. He's a maniac. But, you know, it's just funny that he's like... Harry has so much pressure to die for a cause. And his first cause is Quidditch, and it just occurred to me. Yeah, the bludger finally hits him. He breaks his arm. Lockhart tries to fix it, debones it. Harry ends up in the hospital wing. And then Dobby fesses up to his part. And I guess after that he decides to stop trying to save him because Harry's already there, and... yeah. Plus, it just occurred to me that Dobby said that he hoped that Harry would be injured enough where he would be sent home. And I'm thinking, I think the Dursleys would have just let him die in the castle if it came down to it. So Dobby injuring him would just be killing him more painfully. Or, you know, they're not going to, like, take him home to help him heal. They'll just take him home for him to, like, die of his internal injuries. Then Colin Creevey ends up petrified. And again, I ask you, Dumbledore, you know what's happening at this point. You know it's been opened. You know what happened last time. Close the school. But you don't, because we need a book. Chapter 11, The Dueling Club. So they have to steal potions ingredients for the Polyjuice Potion, and Harry throws a filibuster firework into Goyle's cauldron. They're making swelling solutions, and it occurred to me that they made Crabbe and Goyle really stupid, but Goyle isn't that dumb, apparently. He made a swelling solution because when the thing exploded, everybody's, like, limbs were swelling up. So yeah. Also, another note, Hermione is a bad daughter. She ditches her parents at Christmas. I give the Weasleys more of a pass because they're visiting, I think, Bill or something. Charlie, I can't remember. But they're not even going to be home. So, they have more of an excuse. But Hermione? Oh yeah, and they can also visit whenever they want to. They just don't. But Hermione's parents don't have any control over it. If she decides not to come, they can't really make her, and they can't come see her. So, you suck. Although I guess to be fair, she needed to be there for the Polyjuice. But you still suck. Okay. Then, the Dueling Club. I need to know how Dumbledore convinced Snape to be Lockhart's sidekick for the Dueling Club. Like, I want to know his reaction to that whole thing. Like, just the conversation itself. To be a fly on the wall, to hear Dumbledore say, now, just be his assistant, Severus. And then Harry speaks parcel tongue, and everybody starts thinking he's the heir of Slytherin. And then Justin and Nearly Headless Nick are petrified. And Peeves has a new song. Oh, Potter, you rotter, oh, what have you done? Killing all students because you think it's good fun. Nice, Peeves. I love him. Then chapter 12, the Polyjuice Potion. I mean, Harry's afraid that, he belongs in Slytherin. He meets Fawkes the Phoenix. Hagrid runs into Dumbledore's office to defend Harry, saying that he didn't do it. It's really interesting how he feels the need to defend him because, I mean, Dumbledore literally... The reason he has his job is because Dumbledore knows Hagrid didn't do it. So, yeah. Anyway. Then I have a question. If you could polyjuice into anyone you want, who would it be? And also, if you put a feather into Polyjuice Potion, like a bird feather, would you turn into a bird and be able to fly? Like, would you have wings? Because if that happened, instead of, like, what Hermione had, which was, like, a cat's tail and, like, a furry face, I would take being a talking bird. I wouldn't want to be changed back. Being able to fly would be cool. And then the Dursleys gave Harry a toothpick for Christmas. I never actually noticed the stuff that they gave him. Then once they polyjuice themselves into Crabbe and Goyle, they run into Percy. And Malfoy, like, talks back to Percy, and it was kind of satisfying. I kind of wondered why Percy didn't even bother to take points. Like, if he actually has power to take points, I'd take, like, 50 points from Slytherin from Malfoy just for fun. Not for fun, but, like, well, if he did something to me, and I had that power after that fight with his dad, that's some payback. Although, it's interesting because in book 5, they actually say that you can't take, prefects can't take points. So I'm confused. Whatever. Malfoy's not the heir of Slytherin, but they find out I was trying to quote Malfoy and I didn't like that. A girl died. Malfoy said a mudblood died. Anyway, and then Myrtle is very happy because Hermione has a furry face. She's very excited that she will be teased like she was. Myrtle sucks, but she's so funny. Chapter 13, The Very Secret Diary. Hermione is, like, in the hospital wing at the beginning. She's there for over, like, a month and a half. It's crazy. And she has a get well card with lace on it under her pillow from good old Lockyheart. And as Ron says, isn't he the smarmiest bloke? Or something like that. Anyway, then they discover that Moaning Myrtle has flooded the bathroom. And they go in to see what's up, and they find the diary. Tom Riddle's diary. Apparently someone threw it at her. And here's my question. Do ghosts have tears, or is the water from Myrtle's tantrum coming from her, like, drifting through the toilets and making, like, tidal waves? Anyway, then we have Valentine's Day, Lockhart's morale booster. God, that's horrifying. But yeah, I love just the whole thing. His announcement. I'm going to read it just because it's hilarious. I'm sure my colleagues will want to enter into the spirit of the occasion. Why not ask Professor Snape to show you how to whip up a love potion? And while you're at it, Professor Flitwick knows more about entrancing enchantments than any wizard I've ever met, the sly old dog. Professor Flitwick buried his face in his hands. Snape was looking as though the first person to ask him for a love potion would be force-fed poison. Which, it kind of made me wonder if Pansy Parkinson asked Snape for a love potion for Malfoy. Because she likes him. But, yeah. The next thing is... the Valentine. Is it from Ginny? Because I never thought it was, but everybody thinks it is. And I'm just like, I thought that the Valentine was so ridiculous that it couldn't be from Ginny. And that, like, the Valentines were just these stupid things that Lockhart was, you know, like, having, well, boost morale, I guess. So he was just having them make up songs for everybody. I didn't think it was a thing. It just doesn't sound like her. Like, the song itself, it sounds horrible. Anyway. I mean, I'll read it, too. Oh, I found the line I was looking for with Ron about Lockhart. Is Lockhart the smarmiest bloke you've ever met, or what? I don't know why I find it funny. Anyway, let me sing, the Valentine, the Singing Valentine that is supposedly from Ginny. His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. His hair is as dark as a blackboard. I wish he was mine. He's really divine. The hero who conquered the Dark Lord. That is Jim Dale's version. Stephen Fry refuses to sing, which kind of sucks. Jim Dale hams up the songs a little more. But, like, it just doesn't sound like Ginny. People think it's her because she cried when Malfoy said that Harry didn't like her Valentine. But I think she could have just as easily been crying because she saw that Harry found the diary. So I don't know. Anyway, then Harry finds out that the diary works, and he finds out, that people think that, or Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets. Then chapter 14, Cornelius Fudge, Hermione and Penelope Clearwater get petrified. And they go see Hagrid because of, oh, here's the thing I wanted to say. Do they tell any of the parents that their kids got petrified? Or did they have to go home and make up what they did all year? Like, oh, I was doing this, you know, I did so-and-so for all... I mean, Colin was petrified for the entire year. I'm sure Colin told his parents, but I bet Hermione didn't. And I'll bet you anything that they didn't tell the parents of those kids because they were muggleborns and they weren't going to find out about it. Which is gross. I mean, I could be completely assuming, but... I mean, if you knew that happened and they just kept it open and let other kids get attacked, would you send your kid back? Probably not. So yeah, I'm just going to assume that they did not tell them. Anyway. They go see Hagrid, and then Fudge comes to arrest him because he needs to be seen doing something. And this is where I have an unpopular opinion. I don't think the ministry is great, but I think that they were at least trying to do something to protect the students, even if they weren't sure. Because at that point, they weren't sure if Hagrid did it. Like, I think it's entirely possible he could have with his monster love. You know, no one was sure. They just liked Dumbledore, so they let him stay on as gamekeeper, but there was no proof that he did or didn't do it. The attack stopped after he was expelled, so... And at the end of the day, I mean, Dumbledore wasn't doing anything either. Like, nobody was closing the school, nobody was protecting anyone, really. I mean, yeah, they were doing patrols, but stuff was still happening. They only were going to close the school when Ginny went into the chamber. But, like, up until then, they were just kind of hoping they would stop. And that was it. So I kind of see why, like, the ministry had to act. Had to do something. So I don't know. And then the governors came to, or Lucius Malfoy came on behalf of the governors to tell Dumbledore to get lost. Which, okay, I guess. I mean, I don't think it helps either, but again, it's like you weren't exactly helping the situation either, so what do you want to happen? People want to see action, not you just twiddling your thumbs hoping that it'll all go away. Anyway, chapter 15, Aragog. Follow the spiders. I love the line in the movie where Ron says, how about follow the butterflies? And honestly, if I were Harry and Ron and I ran into that spider, me and Hagrid wouldn't be speaking anymore. Especially 4 years later when he's like begging them to go read Aragog a bedtime story and to attend his funeral after he dies. Like, no. We wouldn't be friends. So yeah, that's about it. Nothing else really happened in that chapter. They find out that the girl died in a bathroom, and they figure out it's Myrtle. And then chapter 16, the Chamber of Secrets. They announce that they're going to unpetrify everybody that night. Ginny comes to the Gryffindor table to where they're sitting at the Gryffindor table to try to tell them probably what was happening. And Percy stops her because he thinks that she's going to tell them about seeing him making out with Penelope Clearwater. Dummy. He should know that Ginny is better than that. And if she has something important to say, it's not about him and his potential kissing of anyone. Anyway, they go to see Hermione, and Harry sees a paper in her hand. How in the world did they not look at her hands? Like, did they just decide that the paper was just a piece of a library book not worth reading? Like, come on. The clue is right there, and no one noticed it. They noticed the mirror, but not the piece of paper. Whatever. So we find out it's a basilisk. And my question is, how does the basilisk know he's killing a Muggleborn? What if he accidentally kills a pureblood? I mean, all you have to do is look at it. Then, like, the teachers pretty much tell everyone to go to their common rooms, and then Harry and Ron decide to eavesdrop in the staff room closet, and they find out that Ginny was taken in by the chamber, and Lockhart comes in, and the teachers are like, all right, Lockhart, it's your time to shine. Go get her. You know how to defeat the monster in the chamber, and you know where it is. Go for it. And, you know, they just wanted to get him out from underfoot. But my question is, okay, so the plan is to just close the school and get the kids home and just, well, I guess Ginny's gone. Sorry, Molly Arthur. Like, that was the plan. Amazing. So Harry and Ron decide that they're going to go help him out and tell him the information he needs to know. And they find him on his way out. He's packing. Jerk. And they pretty much take him to the chamber. Honestly, they should have just left him there. But, you know, because he wasn't going to be helpful anyway. But, I mean, well, I guess he was about to modify them. And, honestly, it was kind of nice that they made him go first and, like, threw him into the slimy chamber first. And then he tries to modify their memories again. He only succeeds in modifying his own with Ron's wand, and there's a landslide, too. So Ron is stuck on one side, and Harry has to keep going. Chapter 17, the Heir of Slytherin. He meets Tom Riddle. You know, he finds out, like, what's been happening with Ginny. As Tom Riddle gets stronger, Ginny gets, well, fades a little more. She's gonna die as he's, like, taking, I guess, her essence from her. I don't know exactly. I mean, we know the Diary of the Horcrux from later books, but yeah. And then he calls the basilisk, and Harry gets a visit from Fox with the sorting hat. Harry pulls the sword out of the sorting hat, kills the basilisk, but not before the basilisk, like, bites him. And Fox heals him with his tears. But I kind of wonder if he should have just died, and maybe the Horcrux inside him would have died. But I guess if that happened, there would be no book. Let's see. And then I wondered, how did Ron and Hermione get out of the chamber in book 7 when they went to, like, get basilisk fangs to destroy some Horcruxes? They went down to the chamber. How did they get back up? Because, like, Harry and Ron had to use, like, Fox to fly them back up. Anyway, Myrtle's not very happy to see them. She was very disappointed that Harry was alive because she wanted him to share her toilet. So, yeah. Chapter 18, last chapter, Dobby's reward. I only have 2 things to say. 1, what were they all doing in Dumbledore's office? The Weasleys were in there crying because they figured Ginny was dead, and probably by then they'd figured out that Harry and Ron were missing. So, triple death. But was the plan just what? Were they just holding a vigil to let them cry it out? Or what? Like, what was the plan? Nobody was going to figure out how to get down there? Did Dumbledore really have no idea? Because he just seemed pretty excited when they came back. Like, or did he have an idea and wanted to let Harry figure it out? You know, once Fox left his perch, he probably figured that he was going to Harry, so I don't know. I just find it crazy that they're all just waiting or not waiting, just giving up. I can't figure out which one it was. Anyway, they were shocked when they got back, and Dobby, is a free elf. Dobby is free. I always love that sentence in the movie. And then when he yells at Malfoy, what did he say? You will not hurt Harry Potter. Like, and he pretty much threatens him with magic. I love it. So, yeah, that's pretty much where it ends. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say other than that. So yeah, next one will be Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm going to have a bit more criticism on Dumbledore in that one. So if you hate it, I don't know what to tell you. It's just my platform to, I guess, give all my thoughts about Harry Potter now that I can. Oh, here's Dobby's line. You shall not touch Harry Potter. You shall go now. And he points a threatening finger at him. I love it, Dobby. And he becomes way better in the next, like, in books 4 and 5. But, oh, he's the best. Oh, yeah, and Harry asks him to promise never to save his life again. And, which is funny, because in book 7, he does save his life, much to his detriment. Though it's a good thing that Dobby did not keep that promise, because otherwise Harry would be dead in Malfoy Manor. Anyway, now I'm really done. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Hopefully this one uploads and it's shorter. Bye!
Speech on. Stop recording.